Thank you very much for having me here, and thank you, APT, for actually doing this paper. I think it is incredibly timely and important, and I wanted to just start us off by reacting to the first proposal, which is that basically HUD target the Section 202 program to better serve elderly with severe health conditions. And this is clearly a overall strategy and policy that we at HUD support very much. And I just want to touch on how we think such a policy can occur. So first of all, I would just say that we've looked at the population this way. There are over 500,000, 500,000 unassisted, so they're not currently being assisted by housing, extremely low-income elderly with at least one disability and also a housing problem, burden, overcrowding, whatever. And that's a number that clearly is expected to grow. So targeting that population for assistance with the 202 program, which for those of you who don't know is extremely limited in funding and has traditionally been used as capital to build new elderly housing with some supportive services, but pretty much independent living with light services. Our idea for the 2013 budget is very much in line with this proposal, which says we need to target that limited assistance to this frail population, but we need to do it by, in our view, connecting it to your recommendation number 5, which is about using the low-income housing tax credit program more effectively for supportive housing. So our idea is that you use, let's just take an example, you do 100 units of elderly housing, okay, independent living with some basic support service coordination, but light services, and you use the 202 funding to take a portion of those units, 10, 20, some percentage, that are targeted to extremely low income because the tax credit program doesn't get you there, and to people who are frail, and integrate those seniors into that mixed finance, mixed development. So that is where we really want to go with this program. I would make 2 other comments about this proposal just as the challenges. This is very different for the provider community that builds, has traditionally competed for and built 202 housing. So this is a major mind shift, and I know there are some folks here who represent some of those nonprofits. I think the thinking has evolved, and there's a lot of support for this, but there are still folks out there that want to continue to play in the silo that they know, and making this shift will not be easy for everyone. I would also say that states are at varying degrees of readiness to provide the service component that these housing developments will need. And I think the states are generally much farther along on our 811 program for people with disabilities in the thinking here than they are with the elderly population. So I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge as we progress towards an implementation of this type of policy goal. And the last thing I would say for my friends at HHS is when you think about that model, one of the challenges is paying for just the baseline supportive services, the light touch for everybody in the building, not the folks that are frail, who need the deeper services. But we need to find a way in an integrated model to ensure that that baseline referral type services are available. But I think combining the 202 program with tax credits and encouraging the state allocating agencies for tax credits to work with their state Medicare, Medicaid service delivery system is absolutely the right direction, and we're very much supportive of that. So I don't know whether I've used up my 5 minutes, but the other proposal I would just, I'll defer mostly to Estelle on this, but say proposal number 2, which is to take steps to ensure that all assisted housing units with special adaptations are used to house families or individuals who need those adaptations. I think I would just say, as a practitioner, so those who don't know, I spent most of my life building and managing affordable housing. How one, everyone can agree with the sentiment that, though, if you build units that are for people with special needs, that you would want people with special needs to access those units. On the other hand, as a practical matter, owners and operators of this housing have got to be able to keep their apartments filled, and they have to be able to do it in a timely manner. And I would have some serious issues with requirements that mandate that they be held open, or and again, the specifics aren't all here about how you would do this. Encouragement, absolutely. Requiring them to open up their waiting lists and ensure that the service agencies know that these housing resources are available for people, great. But an absolute requirement that they be held open, I think, is not practical from housing that have mortgages to pay and operating expenses to pay, and they must be able, at the end of the day, to keep these apartments filled at the end of the day.